G'day everyone, Coach Craig Rowe here. Today we're going to be talking about leadership and coaching styles. So let's get into it. G'day everyone, Coach Craig Rowe from the Coach Approach and OzSwoosh Academy. And if this is your first time here, then welcome to the channel that helps you improve the athletes that you work with. We upload videos daily, including games for kids, also fundamentals and interviews with elite coaches and people in the sporting industry, as well as this episode of Coach Approach every week on a Friday. So if you're a beginner coach or teacher, you've come to the right channel. Today, we're going to be talking about leadership styles. I actually was in a room on Clubhouse recently, and we were discussing these, and I was asked the question, what leadership styles do we have in basketball? Now, interestingly, leadership styles that we have in basketball actually also translate into business. So today I'm going to be talking about 4 leadership styles that are in not only business, but also basketball. So let's look at them. So there are 4 types traditionally that we say are leadership styles. Whether you be in business or a coach, or even a teacher, then you may present some of these attributes. So the very first coaching style I want to talk about is actually called the authoritarian style. Now, an authoritarian style actually is a dictatorial style. So that's a style where what you say goes. So you don't consider so much the athlete's perspective. It's all about your perspective and getting what you want done. So you often rule with an iron fist. So if an athlete doesn't do what you actually want them to do, you're more likely to penalize them or make an example of them to ensure that they don't make a mistake or do it again. So the authoritarian style is considered a traditional style of coaching that we used to see in the 70s and 80s. As people have evolved and society's evolved, we've seen less and less authoritarian style coaches. Now, these styles still work, and they still work in business. That's a hierarchical structure where we have a boss at the top telling everyone else what to do, and those involved have very little say up the hierarchy. So that's called an authoritarian style of leadership and or coaching. Then on the other side of the scale, we have what's called the laissez-faire style. Now, the laissez-faire style of leadership or coaching actually is a relaxed style, and often it's almost a friendship style and is really, really cruisy and relaxed. So often a person just allows everything to happen and everyone just goes with the flow. And sometimes that can actually work, but quite often it can result in chaos and no real pecking order and no real hierarchy. And when the going gets tough, sometimes the laissez-faire style leadership doesn't know how to handle conflict and things of that nature because they're not equipped to deal in a dominant or authoritarian approach of reprisal or reprimand or anything that sort of follows that approach. So that's the 2 scales. Then we also have another leadership style. Our third one we're going to talk about is democratic. Now, a lot of coaches today fall into this category of democratic. Now, democratic coach includes everyone in the process of making decisions in an organization, and they tend to have not only vertical accountability, but also horizontal accountability. That basically means people in the organization and the team are actually accountable to each other, and they set up systems whereby everyone is involved in decision making. So a lot of coaches these days, you see across a lot of levels, have taken on the democratic approach. Now, there is a 4th approach to leadership that is less used in basketball and probably sits between the authoritarian and the democratic process, and that is the bureaucratic process. Now, bureaucratic leadership or coaching style is actually one where everything's done by the book. So things are standardized and everyone's expected to follow whatever the book says, and the flexibility may well not be there to deviate, and not everyone has a say in the actual decision-making process. So they're the 4 leadership styles that we have in basketball, but they also translate into business. And that's why I love the sport, because not only does coaching help us create foundational learning and teachings for our athletes around sport, but it also helps us teach about business. And that's what I actually love about what I do, is I know that a lot of the coaching lessons that I teach my athletes are actually going to translate not only in the sporting world, but in the normal or real world. So that's really, really important. Now, in a future episode of the Coach Approach, I'm going to talk about how we motivate athletes. I've already done one video on motivating athletes, but I'll be talking about the D.I.S.C model. Now, interestingly, leadership styles actually mimic the D.I.S.C model, which is dominant, influential, steady, and conscientious. So I find it intriguing that the same leadership styles that people possess are also similar to the traits that they may have and gravitate to when they're under pressure. So we'll talk about that in a future episode, because understanding people's behaviors allows us to understand how best to motivate them. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be advised when new episodes are uploaded, so you don't miss out on the next episode of the Coach Approach or any future episodes of not only the Coach Approach, but anything we upload here at the channel. Now, in a few months or weeks, I want to do a Q&A, a live Q&A here on YouTube. So if you're a basketball coach who's been watching this content and you've got any questions you'd like answered, then please either send us an email, so I'll put the email up on screen, or you can leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll look to add it to a Q&A. So I'm going to start collecting questions right now from people who are watching the videos. And if you're someone who's keen to get an answer to a question that you've been wondering about in relationship to coaching or basketball, then please make sure you send us a message on email. You can follow us on Clubhouse, or you can leave a comment in the comment section below. And with that, that's another episode of the Coach Approach. I love that you're returning each week. I hope you'll be here again next week, and we look forward to catching you in the next one. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Coach Approach. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take time to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet subscribed, and also feel free to share your own experience in the comments below. We hope to see you again in the next one.